Good evening. Children and adults everywhere have been having fun celebrating Halloween today, but few know the history of this ancient festival. Around 2,000 years ago, the Celts had a festival commemorating the end of the year. Their new year was November the 1st, and the end of their year signaled the end of summer, the end of the harvest season, and the beginning of a long, hard winter that often caused many deaths of animals and people. Because of this, and the cruel winter to come, this time of year signified death to the pagan Celtics. They believed that on this night the wall between the living and the dead was open, allowing spirits of the dead, both good and bad, to mingle among the living. Some of these spirits were thought to possess living people, cause trouble and ruin crops. Now, masks and costumes were worn in an attempt to mimic the evil spirits or appease them. I'm not sure if you can really appease them, but anyway, my guests tonight are Phil Measy, lead investigator of Ghost Finder Paranormal Society, GPS, and he'll be telling us some of his adventures whilst ghost hunting. And we also have Pastor Morris de Medeiros, a local clergyman, to speak on his experience of the supernatural. I'll also be sharing some tips on how to stay safe whilst out and about, courtesy of the Susie Lamplugh Trust. And later, we'll also be featuring a very spooky place to visit, and I'll also have Chris Brown, who's not so spooky, who'll be sharing his self-development tips. So, how do you see Halloween? Is it fun or is it sinister? Do you believe evil spirits and ghosts exist? Have you ever experienced any paranormal activity, or is it all a load of codswallop? We'd like to hear from you. You can give us a call on 020-7686-6300, or you can email us on chris@chrissybshow.tv. And before we introduce our guest as well, I'd like to show you this photograph. I was walking past like a children's shop, a toy shop, and I saw this in the window. So I'd like to hear from you whether you think this is appropriate or not. Can we bring it up on the screen? Right, so I saw these little babies. This one in particular, I mean, I found this quite disturbing. I know some people think it's like fun, but this is like a little baby. I know it's just a doll with a skull face on. I think that's pretty scary, but I'd love to hear what you think. Give us a call, 020-7686-6300. Is that appropriate, or is it just a bit of fun? So before I speak to Phil, let's take a look at his video.
London has been called the most haunted city in all of Europe. It almost seems the ghosts here have burrowed into every nook and cranny the city has to offer. So it's no surprise these spirits are reported to haunt another of its famous venues. The Theatre Royal Drury Lane has been an icon of the London stage since 1663. But be warned, if you come to see a show, the price of admission may include some frightening company.
Drury Lane is alleged to be the most haunted theatre in London. Now, when you've got something with 350 years of history, there's bound to be an imprint of some sort from their performances and just their personalities being in the building on the very brickwork.
The theatre is legendary for its harrowing ghosts. Actors have told tales of invisible hands pushing them on stage, sudden kicks after a bad performance, and dressing rooms that suddenly turn cold.
There are some genuinely strange things that people have said and recorded, which it's very difficult to explain.
But a team of investigators believe there is an explanation. The Ghost Finders Paranormal Society has come to Drury Lane to unlock the truth behind this haunted theater. And whatever you do, don't call them Ghostbusters. This team has been investigating poltergeists all over Britain for more than 5 years.
We are ghost hunters. What we're doing is trying to obtain real evidence that ghosts do or do not exist, and find explanations, logical explanations for certain paranormal activity.
Okay, and one of the team are here with us, Phil Measy. Good evening, Phil.
Good evening.
Thanks so much for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Now, you've been quite busy today because it is Halloween.
Yeah,
but thanks for coming as well to the show tonight. So when did you actually get into all this stuff?
It must have been about 8 years ago. I joined GPS. They were a very small team back then, and then it's just grown in the last 8 years. So I've been with them about 8 years now.
But had you yourself experienced anything like paranormal
Yeah, I grew up in a
before?
haunted house. I know that sounds strange, but and some of the things I experienced there sort of like stuck with me.
Like what? What did you experience?
I saw once blue lightning crawl across our kitchen ceiling like a little baby sort of crawling. That went from one corner to the other corner and just sort of disappeared into the wall, and it crackled and fizzed as it went, which was quite scary, and me and my mother saw that. And then you'd go and have a shower and you'd put your wallet and your stuff down, or you went to have a bath back then, and you'd come back and all your money would be all piled up in little...
And did you have brothers and sisters?
Yes,
though?
but no one was there because we all did work different times and shifts, because we were working night shifts and stuff, so we'd come home all at different times. You'd be in the house on your own, and you'd come out of the bath and your money would be stacked up.
And that must have been
piles.
really scary.
Yeah, really scary.
Didn't you kind of think at that point to just run, get out the house?
No, because it drove me on to find answers.
Even though you were scared, you also developed like an interest.
Yes,
like a
I wanted to know
for
why
it.
these things were happening.
Okay. So, all right. So that was was that your childhood?
Yes, that was
up?
in childhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then. So that was obviously nothing harmful that happened to you there. But did anything else happen after that? Did things get
when
more...
I joined GPS, I had some very strange experiences because I've done hundreds of investigations in some of the most haunted locations in the whole of the UK.
London's supposed to be one of the most haunted places, isn't it?
Yeah, like the film we saw, Drury Lane, we are probably the only team in the UK to have done an investigation there, allowed to do one there. And there is a picture of one of the team caught.
Do we have that on?
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Now,
what we're seeing here?
Because that's a strange picture, because the legend goes, or the story goes, there's meant to be a man in grey who appears in that area, in that row of seats there. And he's also been seen in that area as well. And he's meant to appear when when the show's on, it's particularly going to be a good show, he appears to give them good luck. And that photograph was taken when we were just leaving that area after doing a vigil. So that's quite a spooky photo. You can actually possibly see a head there, a torso, and in between those banisters, because you can see the blown up version of something else there, maybe his
legs. What else have you seen? Like, you brought more photographs along, didn't you?
There's another photograph as well. This one was taken at the full staff, and that's with a thermal image. The story with that photograph is that 2 members of the team were in a certain area called the ship room, and that photograph was taken
in a building.
And the story goes that, well, we took it to the owners afterwards and we showed them it, and then they told us a story of a child that had been burnt in a fire in that building, and they sold the body because they couldn't afford to have it buried to the local man who did all the autopsies and stuff back then, because you sold bodies back then. And you see the hands there and the feet were all burnt, and when he was opening her up to examine her, she woke up, and if you see the picture again, you'll see a slice out of her body, and that's exactly where he had opened her up. You can see like the blue slice going down there. So the hands and the feet.
Did you use it? What kind of equipment did you use?
That was a thermal imaging camera.
Is that something that you have?
No, I don't have that with me now, but I have 2 other pieces of
what is
interesting
that
equipment.
Yeah,
this is an Ovilus. Now this is an environmental control device. Now this device sucks in the atmosphere of an area, the EMF, the temperature, and then that equates that down to a number, then it equates it to a word, and then it will speak words to us.
Speak words? What kind of words?
Well, if I switch it on, maybe we can get it to speak. There you go. And then you ask a question, like say, are there spirits here? It's running through its cycle now. It takes about 5 minutes to run through the cycle because it goes through all its words. So,
okay, when you hear stuff like that, don't you yourself get quite frightened when you hear things?
Yeah, of course I get frightened.
Why'd you do it then?
Because I want...
Or do you like being frightened?
It's not so much I like being frightened, but I want answers. I mean, there was a survey done a little while ago. 1 in 4 people had an experience, a paranormal experience. So you're talking, in a country of 80 million people, you're talking maybe 10 million people that have had an experience they cannot explain. Even if you even half that and call it, say, 7 million people. Are 7 million people, all those 7 people, actually wrong?
But are you not worried, because my concern is, are you not worried that some of these things are going to be quite hostile and harm you in any way?
They can be hostile. we've had spirits that have been that are known to be hostile.
Yeah.
But you have to show people respect. Show people respect in their real life. You must show them respect in their afterlife. And we don't go into a place and cause Mary hell and stuff like that. We go into a location to try and prove if there is actual paranormal activity there.
What's some of the scariest places you've been to? Can you tell us about those?
That Falstaff was very scary, that one with the picture. And then there's an unassuming little place in a little town in Oxfordshire called the Newlands, a little tea shop. And I saw the apparition of a small child walk past the doorway one night.
Is it just you that sees these things?
No,
or your team?
Another member of the team also saw the same apparition, but he saw the apparition before me. We didn't speak about it until we got home, and he emailed me the description of the child, and I emailed him because we didn't talk about it, and we had exactly the same. We saw exactly the same thing because we were so shocked. I actually physically had to sit down because it just. You don't see that sort of thing every time. To see a full-blown apparition is quite rare, actually.
Yeah. And when you think you found something, when you've seen something, what do you do then? Or is it just to basically prove that there is something there?
Well, people ring us on our helpline.
Do you get a lot of calls?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
A lot of emails, a lot of people asking for advice. And we're happy to give advice. We don't charge for our investigations. We do this because we love it. It's a passion for all the team. We go to these locations, we set up our equipment, we do the investigation, and then we log.
Is that all connected?
Yes. Well, this is called a K2. This is conducts electromagnetic fields, EMF.
Okay.
So you've pressed a button. It's got a green light there, and what that does, that's the magnetic field. The whole Earth has all magnetic fields, and we ask questions, and it's believed that spirits can manipulate that by making it go to change different colours by asking questions. Is there a female spirit? Are you a child? Or things like that, and they can make it go up and down to say to those questions. We've got footage of that going to having a proper conversation like we are now. Like you're asking me a question, instead of me talking, there will be lights flashing because sometimes spirits haven't got that energy to talk.
Right. So then, once you found something, what do you do then?
We log it.
Yeah.
We record it, and we write a report, and we send it to the client. And with permission from the client, we put it on our website so other people can read the
so people that are fascinated by the
investigation report. Yeah, it's very important that we help people because a lot of people don't understand and they want to understand, and we're here to help them.
And the more hostile spirits, what makes them hostile?
Probably in the previous life they were tormented or tortured.
I'm saying, how do you know they're hostile?
Oh, well, it all depends on sort of like the history of the place. It's like a jailer or something in a jail was a horrible jailer and he used to beat the prison and stuff like that. Maybe he loved his job so much, and when he died, he stayed, and he stays there. And
how do you know it's not like just people's imagination? Because I can imagine that maybe there's people watching now thinking, you know, you're a bit crazy. I've
been called worse, let's say.
Okay, but how...
Can all those people really be wrong? Let's say for an average say that 8 million people are wrong.
But are there instances where you do find out, look, it's actually just, I don't know, just a light, a reflection from a watch, or do you tell the people?
Yes, we do. We've gone to locations where people have said they've experienced activity, and when we've gone there, we see a massive widescreen TV and a stereo and fluorescent lighting and stuff like that.
And they go,
but these things are known to make people hallucinate, EMF and stuff like that, and infrasound and things like this. They do make you hallucinate. So yes, widescreen TVs and stuff like that, they do give off high EMF, and people do see horses walking through their thing. But it's just the high EMF in the house. Yeah, a lot of things can be explained. So like I said, I've seen things that I can explain. I've seen a lot of things that I can't.
Okay. Phil, thank you so much for joining us.
You're very welcome. It's been great.
Thank you very much. So I know you've got more to do after this, haven't you?
Yes.
You're going to do more interviews and stuff. And was it tomorrow?
No, I've got a break tomorrow.
Oh, you've got a break?
Yeah.
All right, have a good rest tonight then, because I know you're very
tired. I need it.
Thanks very much. Okay, so what do you think? Have you ever experienced any paranormal activity or things that you can't explain? What are you feeling about it? Is it scary for you? Is it something interesting? You can give us a call on 020 7686 6300. And then after the break, we also have Pastor Maurice de Medeiros speaking also on this topic tonight. And I'll also feature some safety pointers from the Susie Lampley organisation, as although it's Halloween today, many people, especially kids, will probably be doing things over the weekend as well. So just a few pointers to keep you safe. So join us after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, and it's Halloween, so since it is Halloween today, let's take a look at this very scary place to visit and see what you think. So we're just at the entrance of Death Trap. Now, as you can see, it's very gory, very scary. Not the usual kind of place I would come to because I get scared very easily. We're going to do it anyway because my friends have persuaded me to, just for the show. I'll do anything on behalf of the show. So here we are, we're just about to go in and I can't wait, kind of. Which way's the door? Where's the door?
I stole something precious.
Hello, Jiva.
Hello.
How are you?
Not bad, thank you. Could
So-
be better.
So why is it you think that people should visit this particular attraction? Because I didn't actually know it was here.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, you do know now.
I do know now, certainly. Yeah.
I think they should come here because, well, there's a doctor and there's a laboratory.
Are you the doctor?
No.
I can't be the doctor, no. No, I'm more his hospital porter.
Right.
I lead the people in, you see. But yeah, they should come down into the Death Trap because when they do meet the doctor, they'll be very intrigued with his experiments that happen inside.
And what can you tell us? What's the funniest thing that's happened here in your experience since you've been here? What's the funniest thing?
Oh, I think, well, we've had someone faint.
Really?
It will just be like children saying to me that I'm evil. Yeah.
You're not evil, are you?
No. But everyone's lovely, especially the tourists.
That's it for the Chrissy B Show for this week. Thanks very much, and I do hope you come down and meet Jiva as well. Now, I know we came out smiling from that place, but trust me, it was really, really scary, and I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't been persuaded, but it wasn't too bad. I'm sure you enjoy it if you go. So joining me now, we have Pastor Maurice from a local church. Good evening, Pastor. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Chris. Good evening, everyone.
So you heard, obviously, what Phil was saying before. What did you make of that, about the ghost stories and everything?
Well, I heard what he said, and I agree with some of things that he said, but not everything that he said I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he was saying about the child and the spirit of actors that appear in the theater, he basically was saying that these spirits, they were people who passed away, and they were there now, and they are everywhere. When I don't believe that. I don't believe that they are people who pass away, because according to the Bible, they cannot come back. When someone passes away, they can't come back.
So what are they then? What explanation do you have for things like that?
Well, according to the Bible, and I believe in that, it's demons who are working to disturb people, to frighten people, and to make people literally go crazy.
Demons, that's quite a scary kind of word to use, isn't it? Like,
yeah, but
they're not friendly, can never be friendly?
No, no. Actually, some people believe that ghosts are friendly and you can even play with them, joke with them, that there will be no problem. But the thing is, they are not friendly. Mm-hmm. They can be friendly for a while, but later on, they can, you know, harm people, do things to destroy people.
Okay. Have you ever experienced anything like this yourself?
Yes, I did. I did. When I was a child, I remember that my mother, she used to hear some noise on the roof. And for some time...
Birds? Could it have been birds or something?
No,
or, no?
No. Because for some time I thought it was her imagination, and everyone in the family thought it was her imagination, until some moments that we heard ourselves. The whole family heard. And it was like someone dragging a coffin, very heavy, on the roof. And it was really scary. And
how old were you at this time?
I was about 6 years old.
Yeah.
And I remember that, you know, I was frightened, but I thought, well, if these noises are happening, someone is up there. So I'm going to look.
Oh my gosh. I would have run out, sorry. That was brave of you.
My father, he was working, so there was just myself, my brothers, and my mother. My brothers didn't want to go, so they said, I will go. So I went up there, and I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. Well, someone may say...
Could there have been like a logical explanation for it, though? Just maybe someone's TV somewhere, like it was loud?
There was no TV. There was not a sound of TV. It was very distinctive sound.
Okay.
And also... some people may think, it was just a coincidence. Maybe someone was working, doing refurbishment in their house, and they hit the wall or something like that. But it was not on the wall, it was on the roof. And when I went up on the roof, there was nothing. And this noise didn't happen just once or twice.
Oh, it was recurring.
It was recurring for years and years. It was something really, really disturbing. And we did not know what to do. One day, I received, in the house, we received family members. One of my aunties, she was going to sleep over because they were moving house, so then she decided she'd be there, sleep over. And that night was really, really scary because she woke up and she was shouting. And the whole family went there, literally the whole family. And what we could see was just her shouting and holding, like as if she was holding two hands, and her neck was really, really tight, as if someone was strangling her. And we did see that we did not know what to do, and there was no physical body, there was no person there. It was just as if she was holding the hands of someone. And after that experience, she also had that experience in her house.
Or the same thing with
the same thing in her house. It started in my house on that night, but after it kept on going in her house.
She must have regretted visiting you then after that.
And also, the same thing started happening with my mother. My mother also started experiencing the same thing. And it was really scary. Later on, some years after, myself and my brothers, we start asking what was that, why it was happening.
Did it ever happen to you with the hands around?
No, not with me, not with me. But we were asking what was happening. We were, you know, intrigued with that. And later on, we found out that that house, before my family lived there, it was a witch place. You know, there were witch doctors doing witchcrafts in there.
Right, okay.
And it was for many, many years that situation was going on in that house, until there was a murder there. And then of course, they sold the house, and my father bought the house.
Oh, he didn't know?
No, he didn't know.
Oh dear. Actually, I had an email as well from a young lady, and she used to experience some really strange things as well. I'll just read some. It's quite a long email, but I'll just read some of it. She says, I had sleep problems from about the age of 3. It started with me just fearing being in the dark, even though my brother slept on the top bunk. By the age of 7, I moved into another house and I had my own room. I started to see cartoons in the hallway when I was in bed. Because it was cartoons, I wasn't that scared, but I was very confused. Then I started to see people. The first time I saw my dad, and she says in inverted commas, standing in my room, though he was sleeping next door. Again, because it was my dad, I wasn't that scared. Then I saw, this is so scary, then I saw a man literally float over me, which left me very scared. I also saw objects floating in my room. As I got to about 14, something would choke me in my sleep, so similar to what you were saying there. Something would choke me in my sleep to a point where many times I thought I was going to die if I held on for 5 seconds longer. Then I would see shadows that threw darkness over me. I would also feel something touching me sexually, which left me disturbed. From that moment, I didn't want anyone to get close to me. My nightmares went from very bad to tormenting. I had dreams I was in hell. I would enter a world where I could feel everything. I would be able to control what I did, but I just couldn't wake up, and I would try everything to wake myself up, but I just couldn't. The nightmares were so bad that when I woke up, I didn't even know whether I was sleeping or actually if it was really happening. That's awful. The worst moment was when one night I fell asleep and my body was stuck, but I could see everything though my eyes were closed. But then, she says, the shadow dragged me out of my own body and threw me around my room, wrestling with me. And in real life, I would fight, but I tried with no effect. My punches didn't have any effect. But instead, every blow that shadow made, I felt it, grabbed me around my neck, and I was not breathing. I couldn't scream. When I nearly passed out, I fell back into my body and woke up again. As you can imagine, I feared sleeping, especially sleeping alone. I mean, this is awful. And I think people that haven't experienced something like this, they will probably think this girl's mad.
Yeah.
But obviously she's been experiencing something terrible here. That, you know, and it's awful. What do you make of that email?
Well, and also the way that she describes that first it was cartoon and then became a people and people that she recognized. That is one of the tactics that these evil spirits use. They get things that are known to you, or they make people to even see people who passed away. Like, as you were reading that, I remind myself of my mother, that she had what some people call premonitions. Yeah. She said that she saw my granddad one day in the house. But he was, you know, very, very far away. We were in the south of the country, he was in the north of the country. After that vision she had, later on, she received a call saying that my grandfather just passed away. And the same thing happened with my grandmother, with my uncle, and with a neighbor. She would see the person there standing in front of her, the person just would disappear, and then she would receive the news that that person has passed away. And this is a way that evil does to confuse people. Because since you are seeing a person, you imagine that is a ghost, or that is the spirit of someone who died, or is a premonition of someone who is about to die. But actually, this is evil spirits that later on are going to destroy the life of the person, like he's doing with this lady.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably go through it and they're quite embarrassed to say something because they might think, oh, you know, people are going to think I'm crazy. I mean, indeed, you should actually go to your doctor and find out if there is anything sort of psychological, anything like that. But if it's something that carries on and like there's medication hasn't helped and everything, so, you know, it's good to get it sorted out and see someone. I mean, I know you actually help people with these kind of things, and I know obviously you don't do exorcisms or anything like that because that's all like rituals and stuff like that. But what is it that you actually do to help people?
No, what we do is not an exorcism. What we do is strong prayers of deliverance to help people who are
actually,
facing
Phil,
the situation.
just to remind you, because I didn't get around to asking Phil this, he says, because I thought they actually dealt with spirits as well, with ghosts, but he said that once they find something, if it's like hostile, they actually call the local church or people to come and get rid of whatever's there. So it's maybe something similar to what you're saying. Yeah, sorry.
And while you were interviewing him, I was there, you know, backstage thinking of asking him that, but he just left. But
he said
I was thinking of asking him that. What do you do when you find? And something that everyone who is experiencing this should know is that they cannot keep it to themselves. They cannot be quiet and think, oh, if I say, people are going to laugh at me, people are going to think that I'm going crazy. They actually should look for help. Help spiritually, going to church and having a close communion with God. And also, as you said, they have also to look for the doctor, because maybe they are experiencing something that is physical, something that is a disease or something like that, or maybe it's actually something spiritual, that medications will not help, and they need to have the spiritual advice, the spiritual guidance.
Okay. Do a lot of people come to you with these kind of problems then?
Yes.
Really? Is it that common?
Yes, there are many people that come to the church asking help, and we do help them, we do pray for their deliverance, and they have many stories to tell of things that happened to them. And that's actually the way that we got rid of these spirits that were working there in my family, because we were looking for help, and then we found this church that helped us, which I belong today. And the way that they approach was something that I never thought would be possible. But they really did a strong prayer that helped us a lot, and helped myself, my mother, and the whole family.
Okay, so Pastor, we've run out of time. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And we are actually also going to have Chris Brown joining us after the break, and also another scary place to visit. So do join us after this. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show. Now, before we speak to Chris Brown, we have a few safety things as well for Halloween, especially for the children. I know Halloween's today, but I know also some children might be celebrating over the weekend and stuff. So it's just a few things that you should be aware of. And this is from the Susie Lamplugh organisation. So dressing up safety, it says. Costume should not be too long or restrict your child's freedom to move. You don't want any unplanned bumps in the night. Play on words there. Some masks can obstruct a child's vision, a potential danger, especially when they're crossing the road. So consider using face paints instead. So be really, really careful of that as well. If your children are going to be out on the streets, make sure they are wearing visible clothing. Perhaps you can put reflective tape on their costumes. And also some costumes, coupled with the excitement of Halloween, can encourage aggressive behaviour. Even fake knives, swords and other costume accessories can hurt or scare people. So make sure your children understand this, and that any potentially dangerous items are made of cardboard or other flexible materials. Now, something about trick-or-treating as well. Now, this is really, really important. It's saying here, ask your children not to eat any sweets or other treats that they have been given until they get home. Giving them a meal or snack before they go might help them resist temptation. Carefully check all the things that have been given. Sweets and food that are still in their original wrappers are the safest. Now, just to let you know something as well, I know there's some really sick people out there, and they are looking for any opportunity to cause harm. So please don't be naive and think that everyone's having fun at this time of year, because there are people genuinely that are out to harm people. And I actually heard something really disturbing. It wasn't in this country, but I'm sure things like this go on in the UK as well, of a certain, like a witch doctor that actually grinds up human bones into a powder and then mixes it with sweets to give out to children on Halloween. And then obviously it causes all sorts of problems and illnesses and stuff like that. So these are kind of things that people do. So, I mean, honestly, if I was a child, if I had a child, I should say, I'd never let them go out trick-or-treating. But that's up to you, your parent. You have to decide what to do. But if you are going to allow your children to go trick-or-treating, please make sure you check anything that they've been given, and maybe give them sweets, yourself, so at least you know where they've come from at the end of the day. There are a few other things about personal safety that, if we've got time, I'll go through afterwards. But first, let's introduce Chris Brown. Hello, Chris.
Hi, Chrissy.
How are you?
I'm really good. I'm really intrigued about what's been going on before, what you're all talking about.
What did you make of all of it? A bit weird?
A bit weird tonight.
Yeah.
But it's Halloween night, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit spooky.
Halloween night, spooky, but Me personally, I'm not for Halloween really, at the end of the day. But that's my personal vision on that, you know. I mean, think about it. And when I say it's my personal, I'd say decision on that overall. Because sometimes people do things out of peer pressure.
Yeah.
You know, they see others doing it and think, oh, let's get into it. I mean, where did Halloween start in the first place? I mean, you read out the history of it. And then I remember when you used to watch those films, it used to be Halloween films, but from America.
Yeah.
And the trick or treat, and I suppose it came over here and everybody's doing it, you know. But when I think about things like, sometimes you've got the neighbours, you've got really old people, and somebody's coming trick and treating on their door.
It's quite scary,
You know,
for
it's
them,
scary
isn't it?
for
Bless
them,
them.
yeah,
I don't know
you
what the
could kill
kids do
someone.
nowadays, but I know before they used to like sort of throw things
Throw
at the
things at
house,
you,
and
yeah.
like that's quite
And
mean
all that,
actually.
you know.
It's quite.
I put a big note on the
cruel.
door, no trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
That's it, no trick-or-treating
It'll be
here.
a target. They're going to be called a party pooper.
At your risk. No, I'm only joking. Right. Anyway, but talking about, before I actually do talk about everything, I just want to give a quick mention. Do you mind?
Oh, yes, you can.
I want
Go
to
ahead.
give a quick mention to all those at CMA down at Park Royal. Yeah, had a great time with you yesterday. Thanks very much. Yeah, they invited me down, did a talk with them, and
that's
very
nice.
responses.
Hello,
group. So,
everybody.
yeah.
At where?
Hi.
At where?
CMH.
CMH.
Park
Hello.
Royal. It's hospital. Thanks. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
But what we're talking about is decision making. Now, we're talking about Halloween, and I mentioned a little bit about peer pressure and people joining in things that they don't want to do. Also, that happens in the work situation, not just talking about Halloween, work situation or family situation, relationship situation, where people go along and find it hard to actually make decisions, even to the point of your own life. You know, we're coming to the end of the year now. And we're going to branch over into New Year, and people have got to make decisions about their life, where they're going, their direction. And sometimes it's pretty hard. And what we do is, well, I'll show on the slide here, one of the main things that people tend to do is procrastinate. They procrastinate about what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, should I do it, I don't know if I should do it, will I do it, what? But the main thing about it, if you don't make a decision, life actually makes a decision for you. So you've got to be very much aware of it and be headstrong.
And not making a decision is a decision sometimes.
Well, there you
Just
go,
land you in
exactly.
something, isn't it?
But it's at your disadvantage. That's the only thing, because you'll always feel, well, I didn't make that decision. Sometimes people get into relationships that they didn't make the decision about. Part way down the line, they think, oh, well, I don't think this is the person I'm meant to be with or whatever. At somebody else's detriment as well. You know, finding out. So you've got to make decisions about your life, what you're doing, relationships that you're into, your work situation. You've got to make a decision about that as well and know exactly what you want to get from it. Another thing that people find hard to make decisions, well, actually not hard, would be a better way to make decisions, is to weigh up the pros and the cons. Once you've actually been wise enough to actually think, well, look, this is good about it, that's good about it, that's good about it, but hang on, this is negative about it, this is not too right, and kind of weigh them up and see if they're in your favour. It should help you make the decision. Another thing which I always talk about is putting that down on paper. I'll do a paper, put a line down the middle, all right, if I did this, this would be the case, that would be the case, that would be the case. That's all the pros. Cons on here, I wouldn't lose, I wouldn't gain anything from it, and work them out and see which one works out better. So that's good in helping you make decisions, you know. Now, another thing as well is this: not all decisions are favourable to everybody, right? So
what might be good for one person might
be good for somebody else, right? So you might be in a group situation and you've got to voice your opinion, but some people just don't voice their opinion and they become wallpaper, right, in a group. And the thing is, they don't say anything and they go along with everything because they're more afraid of what people might think about their decisions. I mean, could you imagine being president of a company, and you've got to make a decision. All the workers are going to take them and say, well, no, we do this, we do that. Or leader of a country, you know, and you don't make any decisions and you think, well, let me see what the people want only, forget it, you know. But overall if you don't make decisions, life makes decisions for you. Now, what you got to do is get to the point of taking responsibility. Most people who do not take decisions or make decisions do not like to take responsibility, because you're going to take responsibility if it goes good. You've got to take responsibility if it goes bad as well. Yeah. Now,
they don't do that, do they?
No, they don't. Sometimes it's somebody else's fault. You know, we got to make a decision. We got to make a decision. I'm scared of making decisions, and you turn around and say, "No, Chris, I think you need to do a show like this or this." And you're, yeah, okay. Something goes wrong. You see, I told you, didn't I? I told you. I was thinking that, and that's what people tend to do. They shy away from making decisions. So overall, I'm going to say, look, take responsibility, make decisions. It's your life, it's your choice. Go for it overall.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much for those valuable tips.
Very much welcome.
So we've actually got another place as well, a scary place, if you'd like to take a look at this as well. Maybe somewhere that you fancy going to. I wouldn't go to it, but that's just my opinion because I don't like being scared. But take a look and see what you think.
Welcome to Oxford Castle Unlocked. My name is Anne Green and I will be your guide as we delve back in time into the mysteries of this ancient site. I was a prisoner at this castle 350 years ago. These two students here would have travelled from all corners of the Christendom to be taught by the Norman scholars. So famed was their knowledge and intelligence, and it was they who would have built all of Oxford's colleges, or at least the earlier ones.
So apparently this is the D wing. This is where lots of cells in a line here where all the prisoners used to be kept. And apparently it was like more than one. It would be actually maybe 3 and possibly even more in its earlier years.
There is much more to find out about Oxford Castle Unlocked than meets the eye. And of course, especially the stories of the Civil War. You should be very interested in that sort of thing when King Charles unfortunately eventually surrendered Oxford to the parliamentarians. But we've more than the prisoners, we've all the education that you've just heard about, we've the stories of Roland Jenks, we've the story of Matilda, and even King John, who was here in the 1200s. All this is very important, and many parts of our history are somehow linked to Oxford, so perhaps one should even go and look at our website, www.oxfordcastleunlocked.co.uk, as far as I know.
That's great. Thanks a lot for taking us around today. We've had a great time. Lots of history here and lots of people to come and see. It's quite scary though.
I hope Miss Green didn't try to hang you herself or something of that sort.
Well, I'm still alive, but I don't know where the other one is.
Yes, well, we'll have to see about that.
Thank you, Barbara. All right, so before we finish, let's just go through a few safety things as well. This is from the Susie Lampley Trust. They kindly gave us there some PowerPoint slides to show you. Now, as I said, even though Halloween is today, but I know there's people going to be celebrating up until the weekend, you know, probably up until Sunday evening. So just a few things, not just for Halloween, but also just in general as well. The first one is to make sure you always stay alert. So if you're wearing headphones or chatting on your mobile phone, you'll be distracted from your surroundings and will not hear trouble approaching. Now, I know everyone knows this in theory, that everyone knows you get distracted when you got a phone. I do it. I'm sure a lot of people do it. Yeah. But it's something that you just don't know, do you? Don't know, and only when something happens and then you start taking care. But it's good to, you know, avoid it happening in the first place.
It delays your time in your reaction straight away. Yeah, it does. It's like driving. I've seen people driving with their headphones in and I think, hang on, isn't a radio there?
Yeah,
do you know,
it's
that
really
sort of thing. Or on the bike.
Okay, yeah. Oh no, it's not good. All right, another one is to invest in a personal safety alarm. Now, I've never used one of these, but I have seen them and they're very, very loud. So if you are, you know, do feel threatened, don't feel any way, just pull the thing. I don't know what it is. I think you just pull the
lever out and it starts screaming, doesn't it?
I think I'm hungry. Yeah, you just pull a lever out and it makes a really loud noise. So it's something good that you can invest in as well. Make sure you avoid danger spots. So stick to well-lit, busy streets whenever possible and avoid quiet or badly lit alleyways, subways or isolated parks or waste grounds. Take the safer route even if it's longer. Now, I know there's people that probably you'd say, I'd never go down that road, I'll never go through that park. But when you're in a hurry, when you're late for something, you take chances, don't you?
Yeah.
You really take chances, but please don't, because you know that's the time when something really bad could happen as well. This one is good. Plan ahead. Know where you're going and the best way to get there. Whenever possible, avoid long waiting times at bus stops and stations by checking arrival times before leaving home. Now, you probably kind of have in your head that a bus stop will be quite safe, or, you know, it's okay to wait at a bus stop, it's well lit and everything, but actually a lot of crime happens there. You can get dragged into a car and anything. So make sure you do know the times of buses and trains, especially if you're a lady and you're on your own. The next one is listen to your instincts. If you feel threatened, head for a safe place where there will be other people, such as a busy street, shop or garage. Don't worry about wasting time. Don't worry about being late for something. If you do feel threatened, do go somewhere where it's busy and call the police if you have to. And this one is, I think this one is very, very important. Ensure you take the same precautions wherever you are. Now, it's natural to feel more relaxed and comfortable in your own neighborhood than when you are in an unfamiliar area. But it's important not to get complacent about your personal safety when close to home. Now, I think this one is really, really important. And actually, I'd never really thought about this before, but sometimes you do feel, oh, I'm nearly home now. This is my own road. Everyone knows me down this street. It's safe, you know, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm not going to, you know, not going to be alert. So I'm just going to do my own thing. But a lot of crime happens in very close to someone's house, where they are sort of they're not taking care.
You're off guard at that time. All the things you normally do, you wouldn't do them because you think it's just a few yards from your house. But you don't know who's been watching you coming in and out and what time each day. So.
I mean, the road I live down is very dark, and like sometimes I'll just come out and, you know, especially I'm coming for a show, and I'll just come out and then I'm quite relaxed, and then I'm thinking, hang on a minute, let me stay on guard, because anything could happen. So please, you know, it's Halloween, but it's not just because of Halloween. Please do be safe, stay safe, and don't let anything happen to you. And especially the kids as well, take care of them. And that's just a summary on the screen. Stay alert, invest in a personal alarm, make sure you avoid danger spots, plan ahead, listen to your instincts, and ensure you take the same precautions wherever you are. Yes, Chris.
Do you know something? You was just saying about the whole thing of Halloween as well, and I was actually looking this up, and apparently why it's spreading so much is because of retail, and it goes up 25% each year. Halloween goes up, that comes after Christmas, all the sales. So whether people want to go with it or not, it's that peer pressure, back to that again, you know, the sales booming all the time, shops go with it, they've got nothing to do with Halloween, but hey, it's going to sell, let's do Halloween, you know, at the end of the day. It's crazy, forget it. Keep your kids inside, give them sweets, give them something to do, you know. Gosh, send your child out to knock somebody's door. Please. All right, on that note, I think we'll finish the programme. Thanks, Chris. So join me again on Friday. We will be talking about DIY skills that anyone can adopt that will make your life easier and save you cash too. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again on Friday, and be safe. Bye-bye for now.
All right, just do some, I don't know, expression. Nice. Okay, let's do one by one, just for...
He was literally stuck to me like this.
I was like that, and then Barbara was behind me. We were like a train.
When did she grab me? She really squeezed.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
It's all right. You were scaring me more than anything.
I'm so scared.
Oh my God. Yes, that was very good.
Not for the
Cut the camera for a minute, please.